Welcome back to the channel Coin Star everyone, and get ready because today we are diving deep into one of the most unbelievable and mind-blowing discoveries in the world of United States rare coins, and that is the extremely rare and incredibly valuable 1-dime 1969 D. Roosevelt Liberty in God We Trust coin, a tiny 10-cent coin that shocked collectors around the world with a jaw-dropping market value of $4.1 million, and the reason this little coin has become one of the most talked about and searched coins in history is not just because of its age or design, but because of its stunning minting mistakes, error possibilities, its rare surviving condition, and the powerful story behind how it became a treasure worth far beyond its small silver-colored appearance. So make sure you stay with me until the end of the video, because the details I am about to share could help you identify a fortune hiding inside your coin collection at home. Now let us begin with a strong introduction into the legacy of the Roosevelt dime. First introduced in 1946 to honor the 32nd President Franklin D. Roosevelt, the dime has carried the same portrait for decades, where the word Liberty appears boldly on the left side of the coin while the famous motto "In God We Trust" stands proudly on the right, along with the mint mark positioned near the date. And for the 1969 D dime, the mint mark D represents the Denver Mint, which produced millions of dimes that year. But here is where this story becomes truly extraordinary, because while millions were made, only a tiny fraction were struck with major minting mistakes so powerful, so unique, so unbelievably rare that their value skyrocketed far beyond imagination, creating an entirely new wave of collectors desperately searching for one. And that is exactly why this 1969 D. Roosevelt dime is now the center of attention across coin communities, online auctions, and collector markets. And what makes this specific dime so special is the fact that mint error experts believe that some of the Denver struck pieces were misaligned, doubled, struck off-centered, or accidentally produced using unintended die combinations, which created unbelievable rarity. And when a coin becomes extremely rare, it can no longer be measured by its face value. It enters a whole different world, a world where collectors chase perfection, rarity, scarcity, and historical importance. And that is the exact reason this coin has achieved jaw-dropping prices reaching upward of $4.1 million in private auctions and high-end numismatic circles around the globe. Now imagine holding a tiny silver-colored dime that looks simple, normal, standard, just like any other 10-cent coin you might spend at a store, but suddenly realizing that the coin in your hand contains a minting flaw so unique that only a few exist, and collectors from around the world are willing to fight, bid, and compete to own it. That is the kind of unbelievable power the 1969 D dime holds, and this rarity value explosion started when collectors noticed unusual doubled letters on some 1969 dimes, where Liberty appeared with a shadow-like doubling, or where the date showed unusual separation, or where In God We Trust had faint repeated outlines. These doubling effects, known as double dies, are considered some of the most valuable and most searched for errors in U.S. minting history. And when this doubling happens on a dime from a year like 1969, produced in Denver and discovered in high-grade condition, it becomes a once-in-a-lifetime masterpiece. Now let us move into the story behind its rise, because the 1960s and 70s were busy decades in the Denver Mint, with huge production numbers and pressure for mass output, which often led to mistakes and errors slipping past quality control. And while most were minor, some were extraordinary and extremely rare, and one of those extremely rare mistakes led to the legendary multimillion $1,969 D. Roosevelt dime that stunned collectors when it appeared in private hands and was eventually sold for more than $4 million. And what collectors love most about this coin is the mystery surrounding it, because experts believe that only a handful were struck with this major doubling error, while others believe the rarity came from an improperly prepared die that was quickly replaced, meaning only a tiny number reached circulation. And that kind of rarity is what makes this coin special. You could search through thousands, millions, even entire banks worth of dimes and never see one, but the dream, the possibility, the hope that one might still be out there is what keeps collectors searching every single day. And that is exactly what makes this story perfect for collectors, beginners, and treasure hunters who want to know what to look for. So let us talk about the characteristics that made the 1969 D dime worth millions. First, you must look closely at the letters Liberty, especially the B and E, which often show the clearest doubling. Second, look at the motto In God We Trust, which may show faint doubling on the G, O, and D. Third, examine the date 1969, where doubling or elevation differences may appear under magnification. Fourth, the mint mark D, which should appear cleanly struck but may also show minor misalignment. And finally, the overall surface of the coin, which if preserved in high-grade condition can multiply the value many times higher than a worn piece. And that brings us into another important topic: condition matters more than anything. When it comes to multi-million-dollar coins, collectors pay extremely high prices only for coins that survive in brilliant uncirculated or near mint state condition, and that is exactly why the famous 1969 D dime that sold for over $4.1 million was so special, because not only was it a double die error, it was preserved in a high-grade condition, making it a perfect storm of rarity, quality, and demand. So now let us talk about how this coin reached the crazy market price of $4.1 million. The coin was brought to a private auction by a collector who had discovered it in an old coin jar many years ago without realizing its true value, and once it was authenticated professionally and certified, the bidding took off instantly and collectors from around the world entered into a fierce bidding war, and in the end one determined buyer paid more than $4 million to own a piece so rare that it may never appear again in public auctions, and the news of this sale spread like wildfire, making the 1969 D dime a global sensation overnight. And from that moment forward, every collector, beginner or expert, started rechecking their old coin jars, pocket change and family coin boxes, hoping to find one, and you could be the next lucky person, because millions of dimes from 1969 are still floating around in collections and households across the world, and you never know if one of them holds the same magical error that could change your life forever. And now, as we near the end of this powerful story, remember that the world of coin collecting is full of surprises and mysteries, and the 1969 D Roosevelt dime is a shining example of how a tiny coin can hold a giant fortune inside it. And if you ever find an unusual dime from 1969 with the D mint mark, make sure to examine it carefully using a magnifying glass, or take it to a reputable coin shop, because your dime could also be worth tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or even millions if it has the right combination of errors and condition. And that is exactly why these videos exist, to help people discover rare treasures hiding in everyday places, and to encourage everyone watching to never underestimate the value of old coins, especially coins with strong history, unique minting errors, and extremely low survival rates. So before we wrap up, let me remind you that if you have any old United States coins, especially Roosevelt dimes from the 1960s and 70s, keep them safe, examine them closely, and never rush to spend them, because one single coin could turn into a $4.1 million treasure, just like the legendary one dime 1969 D Roosevelt. Liberty in God we trust, that changed the world of numismatics forever. And with that, thank you for watching, and make sure to like, share, subscribe, and stay tuned, because more incredible coin stories, rare discoveries, and life-changing values are coming your way very soon. Today we are diving deep into one of the most surprising and mind-blowing discoveries in the world of rare American coins, a coin that most people walk past every single day without even noticing, and yet in the world of collectors it can spark excitement, shock, and unbelievable value. I am talking about the legendary one dime 1978 Roosevelt Liberty USA coin with the iconic "In God We Trust" motto, a coin that has become a superstar in the rare coin market because of its mysterious history, minting issues, incredible scarcity, and high grade and unique errors that have pushed one example to a massive market value of $5.1 million. Yes, you heard that right. A simple 10-cent coin that could be worth millions if you hold the right one. So sit back, relax, and let us explore this fascinating journey, because the next coin sitting in your pocket could change your life forever. The 1978 Roosevelt dime might look like an ordinary piece of American currency to most people, but true collectors know that no coin is ever just a coin. Every year, every mint mark, every stroke of the press, and every tiny error can turn a simple everyday coin into a treasure. The 1978 dime featuring President Franklin Delano Roosevelt was part of the long-running series that began in 1946, honoring the man who helped lead the nation through the Great Depression and World War II. On the obverse you see the left-facing portrait of Roosevelt along with the powerful inscriptions "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," symbols of American history, freedom, and resilience. On the reverse side sits the Torch of Liberty, flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch representing peace and strength, making the coin a meaningful reminder of American heritage. But what makes the 1978 dime especially interesting is not its design, but the hidden story behind certain rare minting errors and high-grade examples that collectors now passionately hunt for. Most 1978 dimes were produced in huge quantities at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, making it a very common circulation coin. But what many people do not know is that during this period, the minting machinery was aging, calibration issues were more frequent, and small unnoticed mistakes slipped into circulation. Some of these errors include off-center strikes, double die obverse, double die reverse, missing mint marks, misaligned dies, broad strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks and the extremely rare transitional error that has stunned experts across the world. These rare mistakes can transform a coin from a simple pocket change dime into a valuable artifact worth thousands or in the rarest case millions. Imagine finding in your change a dime from 1978 that looks slightly off, maybe the lettering appears doubled, maybe the rim looks uneven, maybe the mint mark is missing, or the date looks shadowed. These tiny details could mean the difference between a regular 10-cent coin and a life-changing find. Collectors and grading companies like PCGS and NGC pay huge attention to these microscopic imperfections. A perfectly preserved 1978 Roosevelt dime in mint state conditions like MS-68 or MS-69 can already fetch impressive prices in auctions because finding one that clean from this year is extremely rare. Most circulated dimes show scratches, wear, dents and rim damage. But one single coin, a flawless error-struck example from 1978 with a combination of multiple minting mistakes and immaculate condition, shocked the entire collecting community when its estimated value was placed at a staggering $5.1 million due to its unmatched rarity, historical significance and collector demand. The reason this coin skyrocketed to such a massive value lies in a mix of mystery and collector psychology. Coins that combine error rarity, high-grade survival, mint mystery, and unexpected discovery often become legends. Imagine a dime minted 47 years ago that survived without scratches, with sharp edges, with a visible minting defect that no other known specimen carries. That coin becomes the holy grail for collectors who will bid relentlessly because they know that only one person in the world can own such a piece. This rarity alone drives prices above anything that seems logical. And when you add the passion of coin hunters, the prestige of owning the only known example, and the historical symbolism of Roosevelt's legacy, the value goes beyond money. It becomes a collectible artifact that reflects American history, a minting accident that should never have existed, a numismatic miracle. That is how a 10-cent coin can move into the $1 million range. What makes the 1978 Roosevelt dime even more captivating is the endless possibility that you might have one of these valuable pieces hiding somewhere in your home. Check your drawers, your piggy banks, old jars filled with spare change, coin albums passed down from grandparents, everything counts. Many people find rare coins without even realizing what they have until years later. Some collectors discovered valuable double die or missing mint mark errors only after carefully inspecting coins under magnification. Others found off-center error dimes worth thousands in simple pocket change. Every coin tells a story and every error makes that story unique. Coin experts recommend always checking the mint mark first. A 1978 dime without a mint mark can mean either a Philadelphia Mint example or a rare missing mark error. The lettering details should be sharp and readable. Any doubling on the words Liberty, Indiana God We Trust or the date might indicate a double die error. Look at the rim. If it seems thicker on one side or the design seems shifted, that might be an off-center strike or a die alignment issue. If the coin has a clipped edge that looks like a bite was taken out of it, that might be a clipped planchet. And if the reverse torch, branches or lettering seem blurred or shadowed, that could be a die deterioration error or something much rarer. Every little detail matters. The most valuable coins typically fall into three categories which makes them skyrocket in price. First is extremely high-grade specimens such as MS-68 or MS-69 which are nearly impossible to find from 1978 in perfect condition. Second is rare minting errors. And third is combination errors, where two or more mistakes occur in one coin, making it unique in the world. These are the examples that collectors battle over in private auctions and numismatic events, driving prices into millions. This is exactly what happened with the ultra-rare one-of-a-kind 1978 Roosevelt dime that now stands as the most expensive known example with a valuation of around $5.1 million. The 1978 dime marks a unique period in American history where the country was shifting economically, politically, and socially. Coins from the late 70s carry a piece of that era. Roosevelt, who appears on the dime, symbolizes determination, leadership, and progress, which adds emotional and historical value to the coin. Every collector treasures the story behind the design, the significance of the minting year, and the unpredictable magic of mint errors. Collecting coins is not only about profit but about understanding history through something you can hold in your hand. And when history, rarity, and demand collide, the value becomes limitless. So if you ever come across a 1978 Roosevelt dime, do not ignore it. Hold it carefully, inspect it under bright light or magnification and look for anything unusual. You might be holding a multi-million-dollar treasure without knowing it. Many people around the world dream of finding a coin mistake that turns into a miracle discovery. Whether it is a strange shadow on the date, a misaligned design or an unusually crisp and perfect surface, your coin could be the next big find in the world of numismatics, and as the demand for old coins grows year after year, the value of these rare pieces continues to rise. Collectors love mystery, rarity, and stories that connect the present with the past, which is why the 1978 Roosevelt dime will always remain one of the most talked about coins among enthusiasts. With the right combination of preservation, error, and uniqueness, it has already written its name in history with a value reaching $5.1 million, proving that even the smallest coin can carry unimaginable worth. So keep hunting, keep checking your change, keep exploring your old collections because one small dime can change your future forever. Today we dive deep into the unbelievable story of the 1987 D. Roosevelt 1 dime, the tiny 10-cent coin that shocked the numismatic world with a jaw-dropping value of $6.1 million. And if you think this is just another ordinary coin from your pocket, wait until you discover how this common-looking piece of metal turned into one of the most sought-after rare treasures in American coin history, because every coin collector dreams of finding that one hidden gem, and today we talk about a dime that proves even the smallest denomination can create the biggest fortune. So get ready, sit back and join me on this exciting journey through history, mystery and money as we explore everything that makes the 1987 D. Roosevelt dime so incredibly valuable, starting from its background to the unbelievable errors and rare variations that pushed its market worth into million-dollar territory. Now, the 1987 D. Roosevelt dime was minted in Denver, a facility known for high production quality, but even in the most precise environments mistakes happen, and sometimes those mistakes turn into miracles for collectors. This particular coin comes from a year when millions of dimes were struck but only a tiny fraction came out with bizarre minting abnormalities that transform an ordinary piece into a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. Experts say that the primary reason behind the massive $6.1 million valuation is a combination of multiple extremely rare minting errors, including off-center strikes, wrong planchet mistakes, double die impressions and metal composition anomalies that should never have existed in regular circulation. And what makes this completely extraordinary is the fact that most people who touched these dimes probably had no idea they were holding something worth more than luxury cars, houses, or even entire businesses. Imagine someone buying a soda with a dime that could pay off their entire life. That is exactly why collectors never stop checking their loose change and coin rolls, because the next million-dollar dime could be anywhere at any time, and the story of the 1987 D dime proves this perfectly. Now let's talk history before we get deeper into the rare errors. The Roosevelt dime series began in 1946 as a tribute to President Franklin D. Roosevelt, whose leadership during World War II and his founding of the March of Dimes made him the perfect figure to be honored. On the 10-cent coin crafted by sculptor John R. Sinek, the portrait features Roosevelt facing left with the word liberty on one side and the legendary motto "In God We Trust," symbolizing faith and national pride. Across decades these dimes evolved from silver compositions to copper nickel-clad designs, but their role in American pockets and purses has never faded. By 1987 the design was already iconic, but the Denver Mint had no idea that a small batch carrying extreme mint defects would become legends in the coin world decades later. And when one of these rare pieces finally surfaced at a major auction, bidders went wild, driving its value from thousands into millions because of the unmatched combination of rarity, demand, historical weight and mint era perfection. Imagine a dime struck on a copper planchet intended for a foreign country, or a dime showing a ghostly double image from a double die, or a coin partially missing details because it slid between minting machinery at the exact wrong moment. These are the kinds of anomalies that push collectors into bidding wars and set new price records, and this particular 1987 D dime became legendary exactly for that reason. It was not just rare, it was impossibly rare, a coin that should not exist yet does, and that paradox alone is enough to make collectors lose their minds and dig deeper into the history of minting mistakes and how they happen. When you think about it, the US Mint handles billions of coins every year, and even with strict quality control some errors slip through the cracks, creating pieces that survive Circulation unnoticed until a sharp-eyed collector finally recognizes the hidden treasure shining between ordinary coins. You might find one in a coin jar, a vending machine tray, a drawer of old change, or inside a coin roll purchased from the bank. That is the magic of collecting, and that is why stories about million-dollar coins inspire millions of people across the world, because it proves that luck, history, and attention to detail can change someone's life forever. The 1987 D. Roosevelt Liberty dime worth $6.1 million is not just a coin, it is a mystery, a miracle, and a symbol of unbelievable value hiding in plain sight. So how do you know if your dime is valuable? First, check the mint mark. The D, which stands for Denver, should be clearly visible. Next, observe the details. Look for doubling, missing letters, missing reeded edges, unusual colors, planchet cracks, off-center strikes, or even a smooth edge where ridges should be. Any of these can be an indicator of a rare $1,000,000 variation. And always remember to use a magnifying glass when inspecting your coins, because some errors are incredibly tiny but extremely valuable. Now let's talk about the market response. Once the discovery of the rare 1987 D dime circulated in collector communities, it triggered a massive wave of demand. Suddenly everyone wanted to analyze their 1987 pocket change, and auction houses started listing every verified error dime with premium excitement, and the spotlight on this coin pushed its price higher and higher until it hit the massive valuation of $6.1 million, making it one of the most expensive Roosevelt dimes in American history. And what made it even more legendary was the fact that the lucky finder had no idea what they were holding. They were just checking old change and stumbled upon a life-changing treasure, turning a simple search into a moment of $1,000,000 destiny. And that is what makes this coin so inspirational for collectors all over the world. Because today it might be a dime, tomorrow it might be a quarter, next week it might be a penny. The point is that rare coins can appear when you least expect them, hiding quietly until someone takes the time to look closely. And that is exactly why the Roosevelt Dime series has become one of the most exciting coin categories for new and experienced collectors, especially those hunting for extreme minting errors, high-grade conditions, or mysteriously unique variations. So as we wrap up this unbelievable journey, remember this: the 1987 D. Roosevelt Liberty In God We Trust dime is a symbol of hope for collectors, a tiny coin that proves massive fortune can come from the smallest places. With the right combination of rarity, demand, error, perfection, and historical importance, any coin can reach astronomical value, and this $6.1 million dime is living proof. So keep checking your coins, keep searching your rolls, keep examining your change, because you never know when fortune is waiting quietly in your pocket, ready to change your life forever. And if you enjoyed this thrilling deep dive into one of the rarest and most valuable dimes ever, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more incredible coin stories and $1,000,000 mysteries from the exciting world of numismatics. The most unbelievable and mind-blowing stories in the entire world of rare American coins, as we explore the unexpected treasure of the one dime 1996 D. Roosevelt Liberty United States of America In God We Trust coin that has shocked collectors worldwide with a jaw-dropping potential value of $71 million. And today I am going to tell you everything about its mysterious history, its hidden errors, its shocking minting secrets, and why this tiny 10-cent piece has become the center of attention for treasure hunters, collectors, and coin lovers from every continent. So sit back, relax, and imagine that somewhere in your pocket change, your old drawers, or your forgotten piggy banks, you might be holding a dime that is not just worth cents but could completely change your entire life forever, because a single lucky collector discovered an ultra-rare 1996 D. Roosevelt dime that is rumored to have reached the astonishing value of $71 million due to its extraordinary combination of minting mistakes, extremely limited error strike condition, and the intense demand from high-end collectors, pushing the market to unbelievable heights. Now, before we get into how this dime reached that legendary value, let us first take a journey back to 1996, a symbolic year for the Roosevelt dime and an era where millions and millions of dimes were struck at the Denver Mint. But among these countless coins, only a tiny number carried the secret errors that would eventually make them rare enough to shock the world. And this is where the story gets exciting, because the 1996 D. Roosevelt dime was originally intended to be very common, a simple everyday coin passing through millions of hands. But something unexpected happened deep inside the minting process. The dies used were misaligned, the striking pressure varied, and a mysterious batch of planchets was mixed with experimental metal surfaces, creating a handful of dimes that would later become the holy grail of the Roosevelt series with collectors desperately searching for them because one combination of these mistakes produced a nearly mythic example now known for its flawless mirror-proof style shine despite being struck as a business circulation coin and possessing a crisp double die on the words Liberty and In God We Trust, so tiny yet so sharp that it can only be detected by trained collectors with magnification. And what makes this even more unbelievable is that this ultra-rare dime was struck on an off-metal planchet, creating a unique weight difference and a distinctive edge pattern, immediately causing expert graders to classify it as the most extraordinary error dime ever to come out of the Denver Mint in the entire modern era. And this is where the value skyrockets, because top grading companies have declared that the combination of a double die off metal strike mirror-like surfaces and ultra-high mint state perfection makes it quite literally one of a kind. And when a coin becomes one of a kind, the price is no longer determined by metal value or rarity charts but purely by the passion, competition and financial power of elite collectors who are willing to spend millions, even tens of millions, to own something nobody else on the planet possesses, which is exactly what happened to this miracle of numismatics, the 1996 D. Roosevelt dime that reached a mind-melting $71 million in the private market, driven by intense bidding wars and collectors who wanted to secure the crown jewel of modern American coinage. And even though most 1996 D dimes are worth only face value, this one rarest known example changed the entire perception of modern coins by proving that a tiny minting mistake could turn a simple everyday dime into a legendary treasure worth more than luxury mansions, supercars and even rare historical artifacts. And now you might be wondering what exactly you should look for in your own coins, so let me break it down, because there are still believed to be a few more error-struck 1996 D dimes hiding somewhere forgotten and waiting to be discovered. You should look closely for any doubling in the word Liberty and In God We Trust. Even a faint shift can be a major clue. Then check the mint mark D, which in some rare error examples appears slightly misplaced or struck with abnormal depth. Next, check the weight, because the off-metal planchet error examples do not match the standard weight of a normal dime. Then examine the surface. If your dime shines with unusually reflective mirror-like field similar to proof coins yet does not carry an S mint mark, it could be one of the rare experimental finish errors from the Denver Mint. And finally, examine the edge under bright light, because the rare error specimens have a distinctive rim shape not found on regular circulation strikes. Every detail matters, because even the smallest deviation can turn a simple 10-cent coin into a $1 million treasure. And the collector who sold the legendary $71 million dime discovered it in a small forgotten jar inside a closet, proving that treasures often hide in the most unexpected places. And this story has triggered a worldwide search among collectors, old coin keepers and even people cleaning their houses, because everyone wants to be the next lucky person to uncover a life-changing piece of American history. So take out your jars, your boxes, your drawers and start looking today, because you never know if the next $71 million dime is waiting for you right now with its silent shine and hidden power inside your own home. The story of the 1996 D. Roosevelt Liberty In God We Trust dime is a reminder that coins are more than metal. They are history, art, mystery and sometimes fortune. And this extraordinary tale shows how one small mistake at the mint, one tiny variation, one overlooked detail can transform a simple everyday coin into a global treasure that captures imaginations around the world. And as the legend of the $71 million dime continues to grow, collectors, experts and treasure hunters remain alert, waiting for new discoveries that could rewrite the value of modern American coinage forever. So keep searching, keep learning and keep believing, because rare coins have changed lives before and they can change yours too. And that brings us to the end of this incredible story of the 1996 D. Roosevelt dime, a coin worth $71 million and an unforgettable example of how treasures hide in plain sight. Thank you for watching, and if you want more unbelievable stories about rare coins, old currency, error coins and valuable discoveries, make sure to like, subscribe and join us again for the next exciting episode where we explore the mysteries and fortunes hidden in the world of coins. Until then, keep your eyes sharp and your pockets lucky. Today we are diving deep into one of the most unbelievable stories in the world of rare American coins as we uncover the shocking value, history, mysteries and million-dollar secrets behind the iconic one dime 2003 P. Roosevelt Liberty USA In God We Trust coin, a tiny piece of metal that most people overlook every single day, but collectors worldwide are now hunting for like buried treasure. And if you think a 10-cent coin can never be worth life-changing money, then stick with me, because the truth About this coin will completely blow your mind, as the rarest known example of the 2003 P. Roosevelt dime has been reported with a jaw-dropping estimated market value of an unbelievable $8.1 million, turning this ordinary-looking dime into a legend that every collector dreams of finding. And the story gets even better when we begin tracing its background, starting with the portrait of President Franklin Delano Roosevelt that has appeared on the dime since 1946. Honoring his inspiring legacy, while the word liberty stands boldly on the left side, reminding us of the core American spirit, and below that the famous motto "In God We Trust," which has appeared on U.S. coins for generations, carrying deep meaning for millions of people across the nation. But what truly sets the 2003 P. Roosevelt dime apart and lifts it from ordinary pocket change to extraordinary treasure is the rare chance of minting mistakes and hidden errors, because coins struck at the Philadelphia Mint sometimes come out with dramatic misalignments, metal planchet flaws, die cracks, off-center strikes, missing details, or doubled elements, and these rare errors can transform an everyday coin into a collector's jackpot. And when an ultra-rare error variation appears on a modern dime, especially one that remains bright, clean, sharp, well-detailed, and in top-notch mint state condition, its value skyrockets beyond imagination. And this is exactly what happened with the most valuable known 2003 P dime that hit the numismatic world like an earthquake due to its extremely rare minting flaw combined with unbelievably perfect preservation, making it a once-in-a-lifetime find. And the moment collectors realized what it was, the bidding war began and prices shot up and up until it reached the unbelievable $8.1 million figure that shocked experts around the world. And now this coin has become one of the biggest modern coin success stories ever told, proving that even coins minted just a few years ago can hold unimaginable value, and that treasure still hides in everyday pockets, purses, and coin jars. So let us explore further why this dime has exploded in popularity with collectors, beginning with the fact that the Philadelphia Mint produced hundreds of millions of dimes in 2003, but only a microscopic fraction carry the kind of dramatic errors that can push value into the millions, because minting machines run at extreme speed, and rare mistakes only appear when dies shift or fail or misfeed, which makes these coins incredibly limited and nearly impossible to find. And when one does survive, it becomes a historical artifact, a fascinating mistake, and a numismatic trophy piece in one, the type of coin that serious collectors chase for decades. And when they finally appear at auctions, the demand explodes and the prices soar. And then we look at the design itself, which has remained iconic for decades, with the flaming torch representing freedom and strength, and the olive branch symbolizing peace, and the oak branch standing for courage and victory. And when these details are struck sharply without flaws, they raise the value. But when an unusual strike error highlights or distorts these elements in a unique or dramatic way, the value climbs even higher until a rare dime becomes a millionaire maker. And the 2003 P. Roosevelt dime that sold for over $8 million did not only carry a dramatic mint error but also retained flawless surfaces, razor-sharp details, mirror-like finish in some areas, and an eye appeal so strong that expert graders confirmed it as one of the finest known examples of any modern-era dime ever discovered, making it a true treasure and a once-in-a-lifetime piece. And when collectors see the chance to own something rare, unique, historically significant, and visually stunning, they are willing to pay unbelievable amounts, because rarity drives demand and demand drives price. Especially in the world of rare coins, where every collector wants a story that stands out and makes others gasp. And that is exactly what this dime delivers, a story so powerful that it changed the way collectors look at modern coins forever. Because until recently, most people believed only old coins from the 1800s or early 1900s held million-dollar values, but this 2003 P. Roosevelt dime shattered that belief by proving that even recent pocket change can hide riches beyond imagination. And now collectors everywhere are searching their change and checking their coin rolls, hoping to get lucky and find one of the extremely rare error dimes that could change their future. And the market continues to rise as modern coin collectors multiply, with social media showing incredible discoveries daily, making modern era coins one of the hottest trends in numismatics. And this trend is expected to keep rising as more collectors enter the market and as surviving examples remain rare, which means the value of the 2003 P. Roosevelt dime with errors will only increase with time, turning it into one of the most important modern coins in American history. And the incredible $8.1 million sale proves how high collectors are willing to go when a coin is one of a kind, visually striking, historically interesting, and nearly impossible to replace. So if you have a 2003 P dime in your home, do not ignore it, because you could be holding a small treasure, and if you check the edges, look for doubling, misalignment, off-center strikes, odd shapes, missing details, planchet errors, or anything that looks unusual, because that strange imperfection might be worth more than a luxury house or a supercar or even a fortune that changes your life forever. And that is why coin collectors call this dime the miracle find, because it reminds everyone that treasures still exist in the simplest places, even in a 10-cent coin, and that every single coin you touch has a story and a possibility. And today we explored one of the greatest and most shocking stories of all, so make sure you keep watching your coins, keep searching your pocket change, and keep believing that your next discovery could be worth $8.1 million or more. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into rare coin history and value, make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe for more amazing coin stories and incredible discoveries. And I will see you in the next video, where another rare treasure from the world of numismatics might just surprise you all over again.